Well, I don't know how well this is going to pick up, but this is my kind of camping out thing here. And I'll be the first one to admit that it's right outside of the bedroom here, and nice bathroom and everything. But they said it was going to get really cold tonight, so I wanted to test out some of the stuff from my theory on what's important in a bug out bag. So I'm going to go on camera here now, and as I say, this is my campsite. I read about this woman in the Victorian age. I don't know whether it was a character in a book or something like that, but probably like that thing, The Avengers or something. Emma Peel and her husband's lost in the Amazon, so she hangs out with Steed and stuff. She put a tent up in the library or something, and then lived in there like she was on safari forever in a really Victorian mansion. I don't know. Anyway, so I'm going to cover the idea, first of all, a bug out bag of fire. My idea of fire is a 5-pound fire log. They make a lot of them. They burn for 4 hours. They weigh 5 pounds. Now, I don't know if I'm going to put this in a bug out bag per se, except that on impulse, after watching some of these, premieres and stuff like that, really people who really know how to survive. I went out in my backyard with a machete, almost cut my foot off. I didn't injure myself, but I don't think I could have whacked up enough firewood to even get a fire going. So if you have one of these that weighs 5 pounds, you can cut it up. So you open it up. I've already done that, but you open it up and you just cut sections off, because batoning this even with a pocket knife is real easy, and there's some cross sections, and they actually burn for a few hours. The reason that I would prefer this over firewood is it's got a whole lot more energy in it, because it was designed that way. It's eco-friendly, I guess. But if I have to bug out sometime, the last thing I want to do is go stumbling around in the dark and trying to whack up some firewood. And even when you get it, and I have other stuff here. I mean, I've got some pine cones. I gather stuff naturally just for this little campsite here. And I do have a porch light on right now just to give me enough to maybe film. Natural things tend to flare up much bigger than you want, and then they die down in their coals. But even a single slab cut off of one of these is optimized to look like fire, and that's what I really want. So this is another thing that I don't know if I'll put in my bug out bag, but this friend of mine's got this dollar store, and he gets these things down in Los Angeles, and they're really great.
The time is 8:54 p.m. The temperature is 64.9 degrees F.
I mean, I designed biomedical stuff. I can't understand how my friend could go down and buy something like this and sell it in a dollar store for a profit. Pretty cool though. But this would be replaced in a bug out bag with just a good electronic watch that would keep time, or whatever the time of the date, for, I don't know, 6 months or something in between having this bug out bag and reviewing it. Now, the big thing in a bug out bag is water. And there's no such thing as stale water. There's just varying degrees of tastiness. To give you an example is that I was in a building that was destroyed in a disaster, and after we got out, the insides of our mouths were completely dry, like the surface of a sofa. It felt like my inside of my mouth, my tongue was made out of naga hide. And I have to admit that in foraging around in the wreckage, I found one of those water bottles on a kid's bike, and I took it off and I rinsed out my mouth with it, and I don't even know where that water had been. So, bug out bag, got to have some water. Now, thing is that I already showed you, but it's 64 degrees here next to this fire. It's a really pleasing flame because it's not firewood. But this is part of the experiment I want to do tonight when it gets cold. So I got these at another one of these dollar store things, and I tried one of them. They're hand warmers. There's 2 of them in a pack. Well, what I did was I took a shop towel. I took a shop towel, and I took one of these hand warmers and I folded it in to the shop towel, because it says, don't, even though it says eco-friendly and all this stuff, and it goes for over 7.5 hours, it says don't put it directly against you. It's the same instructions they give you for heating pads or something like that. So I did open one up, and I folded it up inside of a shop towel, and it was amazing. I put it on my chest, and I was laying on my back, and I could feel that this thing was really warm, and it kept my hands warm. So I'm going to do this experiment tonight where, because it's going to get really, really cold, I'm going to take this other hand warmer, and I'm going to put one of them in one of these, and I'm going to shove it all the way down to the foot of the sleeping bag that's in this shelter here. And I'm hoping that that will just slowly warm up the foot space inside there, like toasty warm toes. And I'm going to use another one in the chest. The reason I'm going to do this is that I don't think my bug out bag is going to have a 5-pound block of artificial firewood in it. However, this thing doesn't have a shelf life. As long as it's sealed, it's pretty good. And I did a calculation, and this thing's kind of like having like a little 40-watt light bulb next to you or something for a long time. There's a lot of chemical energy in here, and if I'm not in a mood, or I can't forage or get any kind of firewood or whatever, this could do a lot to warm up the inside of anything that you were in. And you know, if they're only good for a couple of days, well, how long are you going to be surviving? So a couple other little simple things I do have that I know is I have hard candy in mine. So with water and hard candy and some warmers, I can have a cold camp, and I still am going to be fairly warm. So some people say this is really an eccentric way for someone who's semi-retired to spend their time, but there's something about a fire, something about being out in the cold, something about the wind and rain and stuff like that just is kind of nice. But I will be the first one to acknowledge that if these hand warmers don't keep me toasty, or it gets too cold, no, I'm just gonna go over there and collapse on the bed in a nice warm bedroom. However, this is tonight's experiment, so just like to show there's my pocket knife. So we're going to open up this hand warmer. You got to be, I guess they say, be careful you don't cut the bag. Kind of like those labels that say, don't eat. Silica gel they put in the stuff, do not eat. Why would anybody eat something that's in a packing crate? But whatever. So, here it is. And it'll start warming up as soon as it picks up any oxygen. Really, this is just accelerated rust. This is powdered iron and salt, both completely environmentally friendly, with a couple buffers. And what happens is, as soon as oxygen starts to go in here, this powdered iron starts to rust, and it's a controlled thing, and I can feel it getting warm already. So here we're going to do this. We'll let this get warm. This will be the one that we shove down into the foot of the bed. I said it was going to be cold tonight. They didn't say it was going to be extremely windy. Usually those two things don't come together. So that's the experiment for tonight, is in these really inexpensive hand warmers, be in a bug out bag and be used in an emergency to warm up your sleeping bag. I can see already. Tonight might be a challenge.